Let me begin with a truth most people don't like to hear. Life does not break you. How you respond to life does. Two people face the same storm. One becomes bitter, the other becomes better. Same pain, same pressure, different inner strength. Now listen carefully. Mental strength is not about never feeling weak. It is built in the quiet moments when no one is watching, when people disappoint you, and when your own mind turns against you. Mentally strong people still feel fear, doubt, and pain. The difference is simple. They don't let those emotions control their decisions. Mental strength is not a gift you are born with. It is a practice you build, one thought, one choice, one habit at a time. So today, I'm not here to motivate you for 1 hour. I'm here to change how you face pressure, problems, and yourself for life. Here are the 7 powerful secrets of becoming mentally strong. The first key point is this. Mentally strong people stop fighting reality. Because the moment you fight reality, you double your pain. Pain is already part of life, but resistance turns pain into suffering. Most people waste years arguing with what has already happened. They replay moments in their head, wishing for a different ending, asking why things went wrong, blaming fate, people, or circumstances. But reality does not negotiate. It does not explain itself. It simply is. And the strongest shift you can ever make is to stop demanding life to be different and start deciding how you will be different within it. When something painful happens, the weak mind reacts emotionally, immediately. It screams, it panics, it complains. But a strong mind pauses, it breathes, it observes, it understands that emotions are loud but temporary, while decisions made in emotion can last a lifetime. Acceptance does not mean you like what happened. Acceptance means you stop bleeding internally over something you can no longer control. It means you stop reopening the same wound every single day. The moment you accept reality, your mind stops wasting energy on resistance and starts searching for solutions. That is where power quietly enters your life. Many people misunderstand acceptance. They think accepting reality means giving up. No. Acceptance is not surrender. Acceptance is strategy. When a storm comes, a foolish person stands in the rain shouting at the sky. A wise person looks for shelter or learns how to walk through the rain without drowning in it. Life will not pause because you are hurt. Time will not slow down because you are confused. The world keeps moving. Mentally strong people understand this early. They stop asking life for fairness and start building resilience. They realize that strength is not about what should have happened, but about what must be done now. Fighting reality keeps you stuck in the past. Accepting reality anchors you in the present. And the present is the only place where change is possible. You cannot fix yesterday and you cannot control tomorrow, but you can shape this moment. A strong mind trains itself to ask better questions. Not why did this happen to me, but what is this trying to teach me? Not who is to blame, but what is my responsibility now? These questions do not weaken you. They sharpen you. They pull you out of victimhood and place you back into authorship of your own life. There is a quiet confidence that comes when you stop resisting reality. You stop wasting mental energy on complaints, explanations, and imaginary arguments. That saved energy becomes focus. Focus becomes clarity. And clarity allows you to act with intention instead of impulse. This is why mentally strong people appear calm even in chaos. It's not because they don't feel pain, it's because they don't add drama to pain. They understand that emotions are natural, but dwelling is optional. They allow themselves to feel, but they refuse to stay trapped in feeling. Acceptance also teaches humility. It reminds you that life does not revolve around your expectations. Things will go wrong. People will disappoint you. Plans will collapse. And still, life goes on. A strong mind bows to this truth without breaking. It says, this is not what I planned, but this is what I have. And from that place, it rebuilds. Brick by brick, thought by thought, choice by choice. There is dignity in this mindset. There is maturity in it. It transforms pain into wisdom instead of bitterness. When you stop fighting reality, something powerful happens internally. Your mind becomes lighter. Your reactions slow down. Your awareness expands. You begin to see opportunities where others see injustice. You begin to see growth where others see loss. This is not positivity. This is strength. This is the ability to stand firmly on the ground even when the ground is uneven. And once your mind learns this skill, no situation can completely destroy you because you are no longer at war with what is. The second key point is this: mentally strong people do not obey every thought that enters their mind because not every thought deserves authority. The mind is a powerful tool, but it is also a noisy one. It produces ideas, fears, memories, doubts, and assumptions all day long. Most people live as if every thought is a command. If the mind says you're not capable, they believe it. If it says don't try, they retreat. This is not intelligence, this is slavery. Mental strength begins when you realize that thoughts are suggestions, not orders. Your mind's job is not to make you happy, its primary job is to keep you safe. That is why it exaggerates danger, replays past failures, and imagines worst-case scenarios. It thinks in terms of survival, not growth. A mentally strong person understands this nature of the mind. Instead of fighting thoughts or trying to silence them, they step back and observe. They create a small but powerful distance between themselves and their thinking. In that space, they gain choice, and choice is the foundation of freedom. Most people never question their inner voice. They assume it is wise, accurate, and honest. But the truth is, your inner voice is shaped by past experiences, conditioning, criticism, and fear. It speaks in the language of what you have been through, not what you are capable of becoming. When a thought says this always happens to you, it is not stating a fact. It is repeating a pattern. Mental strength is the ability to interrupt that pattern and ask, is this thought helping me or holding me back? That single question can change the direction of a life. A strong mind does not argue emotionally with thoughts. It responds logically. It replaces exaggeration with evidence. When the mind says, you will fail again, the strong mind asks, based on what? When it says, others are better than you, the strong mind replies, better at what and according to whom? This is not arrogance, this is clarity. Mentally strong people don't need to silence negative thoughts, they expose them. Once a thought is exposed, it loses its power to control behavior. There is a difference between listening to thoughts and being led by them. Mentally strong people listen, then decide. They treat their thoughts like messages on a screen. Some are useful, some are outdated, some are harmful. Not every message needs a response. Not every thought needs action. This discipline protects them from impulsive decisions, emotional reactions, and self-sabotage. They understand that reacting to every thought is like letting a stranger steer your life simply because they spoke loudly. Over time, this practice builds emotional stability. When you stop obeying every thought, your mood stops swinging with every idea that passes through your head. Anxiety loses its grip. Overthinking slows down. You begin to feel grounded, not because life becomes easier, but because your internal world becomes quieter. Mentally strong people are not free from fear, they are free from fear's control. They feel doubt, but they don't surrender to I. They acknowledge it and move forward anyway. This skill becomes especially powerful during difficult moments. When failure hits, the mind rushes in with harsh judgments. When rejection happens, the mind creates stories of unworthiness. A weak mind collapses under these stories. A strong mind pauses and says, this is a moment, not a definition. It separates events from identity. It refuses to turn temporary experiences into permanent conclusions. That separation is what keeps a person from breaking under pressure. Training the mind to not obey every thought is a daily discipline. It requires awareness, patience, and honesty. There is no shortcut, but the reward is profound. You stop living on autopilot. You stop being pushed around by moods and impulses. You begin to act from intention rather than fear. This is not about becoming emotionless, it is about becoming conscious. And consciousness is what allows a human being to rise above instinct, above habit, and above limitation. The third key point is this: mentally strong people do not wait to feel motivated before they act, because they understand a hard truth most people ignore. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes like a visitor with no fixed schedule. Some days it shows up loudly, full of energy. Other days it disappears without notice. If your progress depends on motivation, your life will move in circles. Mentally strong people choose a different path. They decide first and then they act. They don't ask, "Do I feel like it today?" They ask, "Is this what needs to be done?" That shift alone separates dreamers from builders. Most people think discipline is punishment. They believe discipline means forcing yourself, restricting yourself, suffering unnecessarily. That belief makes them resist it. But mentally strong people see discipline differently. They see it as self-respect. Discipline is the decision to not betray your future for the comfort of the present. It is choosing long-term stability over short-term relief. When a strong mind follows through on commitments, even when energy is low, something powerful happens internally. The mind learns that action does not depend on emotion. And once the mind learns this, excuses start losing their authority. There is a quiet confidence that comes from disciplined action. It does not come from hype or loud affirmations, it comes from proof. Every time you do what you said you would do, especially when it is uncomfortable, your mind records evidence. I can rely on myself. This evidence compounds over time. That is how real confidence is built. Not from praise, not from results alone, but from consistency. Mentally strong people don't chase confidence, they earn it through repeated disciplined behavior. Discipline also creates structure in chaos. Life is unpredictable, emotions fluctuate, circumstances change. A disciplined mind does not collapse when conditions are not perfect. It adapts, it shows up anyway. On tired days, it does the minimum required. On strong days, it pushes harder. But it never fully stops. This steady rhythm keeps progress alive even during difficult seasons. Mentally strong people understand that intensity is optional, but consistency is non-negotiable. Another misunderstood aspect of discipline is that it actually creates freedom. People think discipline traps you. In reality, lack of discipline traps you. When you are undisciplined, your life is controlled by mood, cravings, distractions, and impulses. You react instead of choosing. Discipline removes that chaos. It creates order. And order gives you space to think clearly, act deliberately, and rest without guilt. Mentally strong people don't feel restricted by discipline, they feel protected by it. Discipline also trains the mind to tolerate discomfort. This is crucial. Growth always involves discomfort. Learning feels awkward. Improvement feels tiring. Change feels unfamiliar. A weak mind avoids these sensations. A strong mind expects them. Through discipline, mentally strong people build a relationship with discomfort. They stop seeing it as a warning sign and start seeing it as a signal of progress. This mindset shift changes everything. Instead of running from difficulty, they lean into it calmly and steadily. Over time, discipline reshapes identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries and start seeing yourself as someone who finishes. You stop identifying as someone who starts strong and fades and begin identifying as someone who shows up regardless. This identity shift is subtle but permanent. Once discipline becomes part of who you are, motivation becomes less important. Action becomes automatic. And when action becomes automatic, progress becomes inevitable. The fourth key point is this: mentally strong people choose long-term peace over short-term pleasure, even when no one is watching and no one is applauding. This choice is rarely dramatic. It happens quietly, in ordinary moments, in decisions that seem small but are deeply defining. It is choosing to rest properly instead of escaping mindlessly. It is choosing to speak the truth instead of saying what is convenient. It is choosing to walk away from what feels good now but feels heavy later. Mentally strong people understand that every short-term pleasure comes with a long-term price, and they are willing to pay attention to that price before it is due. Most people live in reaction mode. When they feel stressed, they look for distraction. When they feel empty, they look for stimulation. When they feel bored, they look for excitement. Pleasure becomes a way to avoid discomfort. But mentally strong people see through this cycle. They recognize that avoiding discomfort only delays it and often multiplies it. They are not afraid of feeling bored, lonely, or uneasy for a while. They know that discomfort faced consciously leads to clarity, while pleasure chased blindly leads to dependency. There is a deep awareness in mentally strong people about how habits shape the mind. They don't ask only, "Does this feel good?" They ask, "What is this doing to me over time?" Repeated short-term pleasure dulls sensitivity. It weakens focus. It reduces patience. Over time, the mind becomes restless, constantly craving the next hit of stimulation. Mentally strong people protect their mental space fiercely. They limit what they consume, what they scroll, what they indulge in, not because they lack desire, but because they value mental clarity more than momentary comfort. Choosing long-term peace often means disappointing others and even yourself in the moment. It means saying no when you want to say yes. It means walking away when attachment pulls you back. It means delaying gratification when every part of you wants relief now. This is not easy. But mentally strong people understand that peace is not something you find, it is something you protect. And protection requires boundaries. Without boundaries, peace leaks away quietly, one compromise at a time. Another hidden strength in this choice is emotional maturity. Mentally strong people do not need constant stimulation to feel alive. They can sit with their thoughts without panic. They can be alone without feeling empty. They do not chase pleasure to escape themselves. This ability to be still and content without external validation gives them an inner steadiness that cannot be shaken easily. While others are constantly pulled outward, they remain anchored inward. That anchor is what allows them to make wise decisions under pressure. Short-term pleasure often feels urgent. Long-term peace feels subtle. Pleasure shouts, peace whispers. That is why so many people miss it. Mentally strong people learn to listen to the whisper. They pay attention to how something feels the next day, not just in the moment. They notice what drains them slowly. They notice what brings quiet satisfaction instead of loud excitement. Over time, their nervous system calms, their reactions soften, their mind becomes less reactive and more responsive. This way of living creates a life with fewer regrets. Not a perfect life, but a lighter one. Mentally strong people still enjoy pleasure, but they are not owned by it. They choose intentionally instead of compulsively. They understand that true enjoyment comes when pleasure does not cost your self-respect, your clarity, or your peace. And when peace becomes the priority, life may become less dramatic, but it becomes far more stable and meaningful. The fifth key point is this: mentally strong people do not take everything personally, because they understand a truth that frees them from constant emotional exhaustion. Most human behavior has very little to do with you. People act from their own wounds, fears, beliefs, pressures, and unresolved stories. When someone speaks harshly, withdraws suddenly, or reacts unpredictably, it often reflects their inner state, not your worth. Weak minds internalize everything. Strong minds interpret wisely. Taking things personally is the fastest way to lose peace. A single comment can ruin an entire day. A small gesture can be overanalyzed for hours. Mentally strong people notice this pattern and refuse to participate in it. They don't rush to assume intention. They don't immediately turn behavior into meaning. They create space between what happened and what it means. In that space, emotions settle and perspective enters. This space is not coldness, it is emotional intelligence. Many people believe that if something hurts, it must be true. Mentally strong people know better. Hurt is a signal, not a verdict. Someone can misunderstand you, project onto you, or react from their own insecurity, and it can still sting. But sting does not equal truth. A strong mind feels the emotion without surrendering judgment. It asks, is this about me or is this about them? That question alone saves years of unnecessary self-doubt. Mentally strong people also understand that seeking universal approval is a losing game. No matter how kind you are, someone will still criticize you. No matter how honest you are, someone will still doubt you. When you take everything personally, you live at the mercy of other people's moods and opinions. A strong mind steps out of that trap. It listens without absorbing. It considers feedback without letting it define identity. It values growth, not validation. There is a powerful shift that happens when you stop taking things personally, you stop reacting defensively. Defensiveness drains energy. It keeps you in a constant state of self-protection. Mentally strong people don't feel the need to explain themselves to everyone. They don't rush to justify their choices. They let their actions speak over time. This calm confidence unsettles people who are used to emotional reactions, but it protects inner peace. Another reason mentally strong people don't take things personally is because they understand emotional contagion. Emotions spread. Anxiety spreads, anger spreads, insecurity spreads. A weak mind absorbs whatever is in the room. A strong mind chooses what to carry. It does not pick up every emotional weight it encounters. It observes without ownership. This ability to remain emotionally independent allows mentally strong people to stay grounded even in difficult environments. Not taking things personally does not mean becoming indifferent or unkind. It means becoming selective. Mentally strong people care deeply, but they care wisely. They invest emotionally where there is respect, honesty, and mutual understanding. They don't drain themselves trying to win approval from people who are committed to misunderstanding them. This selectiveness is not arrogance. It is self-preservation. And self-preservation is essential for long-term strength. When you stop taking everything personally, life becomes lighter. Conversations become clearer. Conflicts become easier to navigate. You stop carrying emotional baggage that was never yours to begin with. Mentally strong people live from a place of inner stability, not constant reaction. And that stability allows them to respond with calm, dignity, and clarity, no matter what the world throws at them. The sixth key point is this: mentally strong people train their mind through stillness, because they understand that a restless mind is a weak mind and a calm mind is a powerful one. In a world filled with constant noise, notifications, and distractions, the mind becomes overworked, fragmented, and reactive. Most people never pause to observe their own thoughts. They simply react to them, letting every impulse dictate action. Mentally strong people intentionally create pockets of stillness in their lives, recognizing that clarity, insight, and strength emerge not from activity alone, but from reflection and awareness. Stillness is not simply sitting quietly. It is an active engagement with the present moment. It is observing your thoughts without judgment, noticing emotions without reacting, and feeling your body without distraction. Mentally strong people understand that the mind is like a pond. When stirred constantly, the water becomes muddy and unclear. When allowed to settle, clarity emerges naturally. In these moments of quiet, insight rises, solutions appear, and internal energy is restored. Without this pause, the mind becomes reactive, decision-making suffers, and emotional resilience weakens. Many people avoid stillness because it forces them to confront themselves. In silence, the mind presents everything it has been avoiding: fears, regrets, insecurities, and unprocessed emotions. It can feel uncomfortable, even painful at first. Mentally strong people, however, do not fear discomfort. They lean into it with discipline and courage. They understand that true growth occurs not by escaping feelings, but by witnessing them. Over time, they train the mind to observe thoughts as passing clouds rather than permanent realities, reducing unnecessary suffering and impulsive reactions. Stillness also trains focus. A scattered mind is easily pulled in every direction by social media, news, or other people's drama. Mentally strong people recognize that attention is a finite resource, and they protect it deliberately. Through practices of stillness, they strengthen the ability to concentrate on what truly matters. They learn to filter out noise, prioritize thought patterns, and respond intentionally rather than reactively. This focus becomes a cornerstone of mental resilience, allowing them to navigate challenges with calm and strategic clarity instead of panic and confusion. Another profound benefit of stillness is emotional regulation. In moments of chaos, the mind tends to spiral, fear amplifies, anxiety multiplies, and anger escalates. Mentally strong people use stillness to create emotional space, separating stimulus from response. They learn to recognize triggers without becoming enslaved to them. When a stressful event occurs, they pause, breathe, and regain composure before deciding how to act. This habit transforms reactive emotional patterns into measured, deliberate responses, which strengthens both personal and professional relationships. Stillness also enhances self-awareness and personal insight. In silence, the mind begins to reveal hidden beliefs, subconscious patterns, and limiting thoughts that often go unnoticed in a noisy environment. Mentally strong people use these revelations to adjust their mindset, identify areas of growth, and challenge self-imposed limitations. They become fluent in the language of their own mind, understanding what motivates them, what drains them, and what is necessary to cultivate lasting strength. This self-knowledge becomes a guide for wise choices and sustainable mental resilience. Finally, stillness fosters creativity and problem solving. When the mind is constantly distracted, ideas cannot form, and solutions remain hidden. Mentally strong people allow themselves quiet moments to think deeply, connect ideas, and envision possibilities. They realize that mental clarity is not produced by busyness, but by deliberate pause. In this way, stillness is not idle, it is productive, strategic, and transformative. Through regular practice, the mind becomes disciplined, resilient, and capable of navigating life's complexities with calm confidence rather than reactionary chaos. The seventh key point is this: mentally strong people redefine failure because they understand that fear of failure is one of the most powerful chains keeping ordinary minds trapped. Most people see failure as a verdict, a label, or a proof of inadequacy. They measure themselves by their mistakes and let one misstep dictate the narrative of their lives. Mentally strong people, however, see failure differently, not as the end, but as feedback. Each failure carries a lesson, a clue, and an opportunity to grow stronger than before. Failure becomes less frightening when you separate identity from outcome. Mentally strong people never equate their self-worth with a single event. They understand that one failed attempt does not make them incompetent, just as one success does not make them invincible. This perspective allows them to take risks, pursue challenges, and push boundaries without the paralyzing weight of fear. Redefining failure means seeing it as information, not judgment, a natural step on the journey toward mastery and resilience. Every failed experience is a teacher. Mentally strong NG people dissect what went wrong, not to dwell in self-blame, but to extract wisdom. They analyze decisions, strategies, timing, and effort to understand what could be done differently next time. This mindset transforms errors into tools for improvement. Each failure becomes a stepping stone, a rehearsal for future success. The more failures they encounter, the sharper their understanding becomes, and the stronger their ability to handle obstacles without breaking under pressure. Redefining failure also requires embracing discomfort. Most people avoid failure at all costs, choosing safety over growth. Mentally strong people choose the opposite path. They step into situations where failure is a possibility, knowing that growth often hides behind risk. They understand that progress is never linear. It includes setbacks, corrections, and detours. By facing these moments consciously, they build resilience, courage, and adaptability. Each setback becomes an opportunity to prove to themselves that they can endure, recover, and continue. Mentally strong people also refuse to let societal standards dictate their perception of failure. Success is often measured by external applause, recognition, or comparison to others. Failure is often measured by the same yardstick. A strong mind understands that external validation is temporary and unreliable. Instead, they measure growth, learning, and effort against their own standards. They celebrate progress, however incremental, and view failures as necessary calibration points on the road to their personal best. This inner standard keeps them focused and immune to the judgments of others. Failure teaches patience, another hallmark of mental strength. When things do not go as planned, a weak mind panics, becomes discouraged, or gives up. Mentally strong people understand that failure is part of the process and that patience is required. D. To integrate lessons and adjust strategies. They see each failed attempt as an experiment, information that brings them closer to a solution. By embracing this perspective, they cultivate endurance, and their confidence grows not from immediate wins but from the assurance that they can handle whatever comes their way. Finally, redefining failure transforms identity and mindset. Mentally strong people stop seeing themselves as victims of circumstance or as fragile beings who must avoid risk. They begin to see themselves as learners, explorers, and problem solvers. Every failure becomes a badge of experience, not shame. This mindset shifts their approach to life entirely. They act boldly, recover quickly, and maintain momentum. Redefining failure removes fear, empowers action, and builds a resilient mental framework capable of navigating life's inevitable challenges with courage and wisdom. In the end, mental strength is not about never facing difficulties, never feeling fear, or never making mistakes. It is about how you respond when life tests you. It is about the quiet power of accepting reality, controlling your thoughts, honoring discipline, choosing peace over pleasure, protecting your emotions, embracing stillness, and redefining failure. Mentally strong people are not born, they are made, moment by moment, choice by choice. Each decision to act with courage, to pause instead of react, to rise after a setback, builds an unshakable foundation within. The storms of life may rage around you, but when your mind is trained, your inner world remains calm. The journey to mental strength is not easy, and it is not instantaneous. But it is the most valuable journey you will ever take. Every challenge is an opportunity. Every obstacle is a teacher. And every moment you choose strength over weakness, awareness over impulse, and action over inaction, you grow into the person incapable of living life fully, freely, and fearlessly. So start today. Protect your mind. Master your thoughts. Act with discipline. Stand in your truth. Embrace discomfort. Pause in stillness. And when failure comes, and it will, see it for what it is, a lesson, a stepping stone, and a signal that you are moving forward. This is not just a roadmap for surviving life. It is a guide to thriving in it. Your mind is the most powerful tool you will ever own. Strength